he's another guy that like very good, well versed as a professional wrestler, and then also can do death matches. But like you said, they get a stigma of just being these trashy wrestlers, and they're not.
Welcome back to Grapple Theory. Thanks so much for joining us once again. And our guest this week is joining us from over the pond, although he'll be on this side of the pond very, very soon. We're going to be hearing about that very shortly coming up. Welcome to the show, Gary J. Gary, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm good.
Good on, man. Thanks for having me. I was looking forward to this. I'm finally glad we got it to like work out. We've been going back and forth for seems like forever.
I was going to say, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, and it absolutely be worth it. It's great to have you here now. And great to hear all about what you've got coming up, because I know it's going to be a busy 2025 for you. But before we get into that, I want to ask about last year, because we always start the show the same way by asking our guests how the last 12 months has been. So we're right at the start of 2025 now. So 2024, how was 2024 as a year in the career of Gary J?
It was awesome. I really have no complaints. And like, if you know anything about me, like, I think that's like 20 or 21 years in the game as of last year. So like, you think I'd be slowing down, but like things keep taking off and like getting really, really like good. So like, I have no complaints. So like, I hate being that person that says it because it's so cliche, but like very lucky and fortunate for like the year I had last year. So like, absolutely no complaints. It was awesome.
Does it still like surprise you after so long in the game, where you can keep having these years that are like better than the last, especially like again when you've been in it so long?
Yeah, absolutely. It blows my mind because like, I'm like, well, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I was like, eventually people are going to get sick of my shit, as I said, like they're going to be over it. But it keeps getting over, like, I don't know. It's one of those weird things. When I sit and think about it, like after this conversation, I'll be sitting and thinking, man, it's been insane. Like this journey, as I say, has been amazing. I tell people there's no destination to really my journey. It's more about the journey. So far, so good.
Absolutely. And that journey in just a month or so now is bringing you over to the UK. I mean, how much are you looking forward to that? I know as a UK fan, I'm looking forward to having you here, but how much are you looking forward to it?
Oh, awesome. My first one was in 2023. I got to do a couple months over around about the same time period. And like, I fell in love with it. It was like the best work vacation I've ever had. I mean, a little hard being away from the lady and son, but like, unfortunately, sometimes passion just does that, I guess, it's work, but at the same time, it's something I love. I'm very passionate about. So like, I loved it. Traveling, meeting new people. That's one of my favorite things to do. So like going to a different country where I know nothing, it's definitely like kind of a culture shock. But by the end of it, I was like, man, I got to do this again.
Do you have any like standouts from your last trip over? Not in terms of the wrestling, in terms of like the culture or like the food or things that stood out. You were like, oh, yeah.
Everybody's really cool and polite. Like everybody was nice, like regardless of where I was, like on the train system or just out and about in the town I stayed in. And like I met a really good friend of mine actually that one of my friends was like, hey, if you're going over there, here's who I stay with, and he hooked me up. And then we ended up being like best friends. So like we talk every day still. He's probably currently at home counting down the minutes till I show up again.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you won't dox that person. You won't say who it is, but like you're staying at the same place this year.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, how do you find it in terms of like, I guess, especially I'm curious about the food, because I know the food like is not too different in the US. I know you guys go a lot bigger on portions, but it's not too dissimilar, right? Like, I mean, there's the odd bits, right? There's the odd British things that are quirks, but
Yeah, some of it is a little like bland because I like a lot of seasoning and I like anything to do with ranch dressing, like condiments. I'm a big condiment guy, but like a little bland, but like nothing awful. And like if I ever felt I needed like at home food, I guess you could say, I would just walk down the street because there was like a KFC, a McDonald's, and a super center right there. So like where I stay is very located for like if I want to go to the mall or like walk around or go to the town, it's all within 5 minutes. Trains are like 5 minute walk too. So like I was very lucky, and that's why I'm excited to go back because then I could just kind of just wander off and get lost per se.
no, I love it. I love it. Two key questions then for your journey over this time. Have you tried Greg's and have you tried Nando's?
Neither. No.
Oh, you got to get on them. You got to try both of them and let me know how you find them. Those are like British staples.
Yeah. I've been to Greg's. I remember we hit a Greg's. It's like a gas station slash like a bakery, right?
It's like a bakery. Yeah, it's like a bakery chain. Yeah.
Yep. I went there. I just didn't get any baked goods.
Oh, you got to try something. You got to try
Right.
something with them.
Try it this go around.
Yeah, you got to let us know how it is. That's the key thing. Whenever people come over from other countries, it's like you got to try Greg's and let us know how it is because it is probably like in terms of especially like chain like restaurants, places you can get food, the most British thing you can get.
Okay. Yeah. I will straight dive into that.
Love it. I love it. And obviously, it's going to be great. I mean, like last time you came over, like you said, that was your first tour in 2023, and it sort of goes back to like the beginning of the chat where I said like is it weird being in the game so long and still doing all these new things? Like you've been in the game again, like you say, like this is like 21 years now. Like 2 years ago was 19 years, like nearly 20 years in the game at that point, and that was your first trip to the UK. Like that's got to be pretty cool. Again, like that you've again been in the game so long, but you still are getting these new experiences and these new things checked off like the bucket list.
No, definitely. Because the way I look at it, it's like even if my glass is full and I'm happy, I always look at the glass as half full. So like I need more. What's next? What do I want to do next? And like I don't want to be complacent and just kind of stay where I am. I willingly am able to go do these things, so I'm gonna do them. And like, I guess a lot of it now is just like staying relevant with the internet, wrestling fans, and just for people to see my name and they're like, man, this dude's kind of everywhere. Like, obviously, Twitter has their favorites, and that's great. I think it's still called Twitter, probably. No, it's
Ah, but everyone calls it Twitter still. No one calls it X.
like they have their favorites, but at the same time, when you look up like who's been around and who's getting everywhere, like a lot of those people aren't always like the Twitter favorites. It's I want to be a guy that's known to show up, do his job very well. You get your money's worth out of it, and then I go to the next town. Like a lot of it in my brain and like Gary brain, it's like I'm like the Shawn Michaels IC title run in like 94 and 5 and 6, like into the title run where he won against Brett. It's like, regardless of what you think of Shawn, his work was just incredible. And like I want to be just put me in the IC title hunt. That's all I want. Like that's my work rate. Like I want to be a work rate guy. I want to go out there and do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was going to say as well, in terms of your trip over here, obviously you've already got, I know there's some stuff you can't reveal yet. You've got like a few bookings over here that you haven't announced already though. You in ICW No Holds Bar, you're doing Kumite as well, which is incredible. Like Kumite are great. I love those guys. They put on great shows.
Oh yeah,
Um,
great.
I mean, like those are two, especially like ICW as well. Like again, the one that like was they were meant to come over here a little while ago and then it got postponed and now they're back. Like that's got to be that's going to be a big show. That's got to be. I mean, again, I don't know your full schedule, but that's I imagine probably one of the ones you're most looking forward to, one of the bigger ones on your list.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm very excited. Like, and like to me, like any work or any shows I get, I'm excited about because it's me being able to show up and do my job at a new place or some of the places I'm going to revisit from last tour, like Kumite being one of them. Like, awesome. I'll be there. Was it February 23rd? So like, I'm really excited about that.
I was gonna say it's got to be nice when those almost like that dual relationship where you come over and you debut for somewhere like Kumite as well, who are doing great stuff, but like you make a mark on them and they want to bring you back, but like they make a mark on you as well where you want to go back.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's the cool thing about like what we do. Like you just going to meet new people, being at new places, and then you ended up just going, man, this is really cool. Being thousands and thousands of miles from my actual house.
Mm.
It's such a cool experience for me. Like I'm still very dumbfounded at times about like what I've done and like the things I continue to do because I'm just still a kid that loves wrestling and I'm still just a kid that like dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask out of like sort of out of just pure curiosity, or like because I imagine it's the same, but out of curiosity, I got to ask like when you come over and like somewhere like again when you've wrestled somewhere like ICW as well, like is there a difference in the way that British promotions run to how you experience it in the US?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the shows I did last tour started at an earlier time, which I love because the trains stop at a certain time. I wish everybody did that in the US because some shows start 8 o'clock over here and you're there till midnight. I'm good, man. Like, let's start at like 5 or 6, run 2.5 hours, and let's go. Let's get out of here.
That is the ideal. Even as a fan, I'm like, if a show's finishing early, oh, that's the dream. Like where you don't need to be looking at looking at your watch, looking at your phone, be like, "Am I going to miss the last train?"
Yep. And then you're like, now what do I do? Because I didn't know that was a thing till I was there. Like, oh, trains end at a certain time. I'm like, oh, that's why everything's early. Please continue.
You're like, "Oh no, shit, I gotta figure that out now." I
Yeah.
guess with the travel though, I imagine during the day at least, the travel must be quite easy as an American coming over, where your journeys at the weekends for wrestling can be like 5, 6 hours on like a good day. Like UK is it's a lot easier.
Yep. I just usually like just hop on a train and hang out. Like I get sightseeing. It's peaceful.
A lot easier. It's a lot easier. I was going to ask as well with ICW coming over for that show and you being on it. Like, is that a weird feeling? Almost like the opposite of like when you're coming over here to debut for British promotions. Like, you're coming like halfway across the world to wrestle for a American promotion.
I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I look at it as like ICW has put enough, stock and invested and trust in me to go, we've used you in the States and like, we know you're going to be over here. So like, we're definitely going to use you on that. So like, to me, it's cool. Like it feeds my ego, you know?
Yeah. I was going to say with those two that obviously like I know there's a bunch you haven't announced, but like with those two already, like you got to be careful, mate. People are going to get the idea you're a deathmatch wrestler or something.
Um, See, and that's the thing. Like, good deathmatch wrestling is amazing, and like, there's some really good deathmatch guys out there right now, and like, they're really, really good. And like, I've been lucky enough. Like, John Wayne Murdoch is a perfect example. Is like, I've known him since IWA Mid South days in like 2006, 7, 8, like, and 9. So like, we've known each other a long time, and like, watching him rise to be like pretty much the guy in deathmatch wrestling is awesome. But like, we've known each other forever, so like he's always cool to be around, and like he's another guy that like is just kind of very stubborn and loves it as well, and just he's got a big hustle just like me.
Yeah, I was gonna say as someone who's again like been around for so long, especially in like that deathmatch sphere, are there like John Wayne Murdoch, like are there others who have come through that you've seen like come through and develop and either that are still wrestling or not wrestling anymore, where you're like, those are the game changers, those are the ones that like changed how people look at deathmatch?
Man, I would have to off the top of my head, I like Ricky Shane Page. He doesn't do death matches anymore, but like he was a big staple of deathmatch wrestling when wrestling wasn't really happening. If you remember during COVID, like he had that big angle with Nick Gage at GCW, and like that was keeping stuff the lights on per se, you know. So like Ricky Shane Page, like I've known him a while too. Right now, like there's the Bev. I just fought him in the pit. Like he's kind of a hybrid too, but he's also very, very well versed in death matches. Uh a lot of the Ohio guys, Eric Ryan, Atticus, Kogar,
I was gonna say, look, there's something about Ohio clearly it just breeds death.
but they're all very good. They know what they're doing.
Mm,
They're not just like making it look bad, if that makes sense. Like
yeah.
they're actually there's a point to it. They're telling stories. It's just not people going there throwing shit at each other. It's very good. And like deathmatch wrestling when it's done right is amazing.
I was gonna say that's the thing, isn't it? Like, like because we've had a few deathmatch wrestlers on before. One that sticks in my mind is a few months ago we had Alton Thorne from over here on, um talking about talking about deathmatch and like he's like again we were talking about there seems to be, and I don't know if something you picked up on again in your career, but like there seems to be this unfair stigma around deathmatch where like a deathmatch wrestler that isn't seen as like a proper wrestler. And yet, like, if you look at so many deathmatch wrestlers, yourself included, I think one that he mentioned, again, who I know is so highly praised over here, Clint Majera, like it's the sort of case where you look at their work and like they can go, like they could have a really good regular match, not just a death match, like a really good match. But because they're deathmatch wrestlers, it seems to come with that like stigma of like, oh, they're just like it sort of like pigeonholes them that they're just a deathmatch wrestler.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Clinton is a great example of that. Clint is awesome. We worked together at North when I was over there last time. Awesome and awesome guy. He great hospitality. I ended up staying there with them, and then we went to Kumite the next day. Like he's another guy that like very good, well versed as a professional wrestler, and then also can do death matches. But like you said, they get a stigma of just being these trashy wrestlers, and they're not. Like John Wayne Murdoch can really work. He's a really good worker. Ricky Shane Page, same thing. Very good worker. And then he can do death matches, like Alton's awesome, by the way. You mentioned him. I wrestled him at Kumte last time,
Well,
and like really good. Like another person I wish could somehow figure out to jump over the states at some point because I think that would help his career overall.
yeah. How do you think because he uses his like obviously like the stinging nettles as his weapon of choice. I imagine that's probably something that's not really been seen out in the States.
No, not at all. So like it's kind of brand new.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And again, like you said, there's so much talent. I think like again, there is that stigma about it, but I think it does seem to be breaking down. People are starting to realize, oh, these guys can actually go. They're not just deathmatch wrestlers, which is
So,
great.
because you have hybrids in there. Like I consider myself kind of a hybrid.
Yeah.
Like I have my version of what like deathmatch stuff is, and it's not the same version as theirs, and that's fine. It's like ice cream. Wrestling's like ice cream, different flavors for different folks. Like so, I kind of like look at myself as like a very good hybrid of like my style, and then if you incorporate me into their style, I can do that too.
Absolutely. And again, like that's exactly the thing is like you mentioned that. And the fact is that, again, I know that a lot of eyes were drawn to you, a lot of UK eyes were drawn to you a few months ago when you faced Safire Reed. And she came out to the States and absolutely smashed it. She's incredible. And like, again, that match was like a really good example of like your ability in terms of, like you say, that like can do it all sort of thing. Because again, that was just a really hard hitting, excellent wrestling match.
Exactly, and that's my favorite thing to do. Sapphire is awesome. Props to her for walking into my house and like she threw down. I was that's like a 2024 accomplishment of like I hold that one up pretty high, like with praise. Like as soon as it happened, I knew I was like, yep, this was it. Like you can just feel it. Like obviously, if you watch it, you're like, yep, there it is. Like very good. She's awesome. She's a star.
I was gonna say like, and I don't want to age you, but like I've got to age myself as well. Like, does it make you feel old when you come up against someone who's that good at that young?
Yes and no. I'm still happy that at my age, that I can still throw down and hold my own. It doesn't look like one side or the other. Like it's a two-way street.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What about Sapphire? Future in deathmatch? Do you get that sense? Or
No, I don't think that's what she wants to do, which is fine. But she's definitely has a future, obviously, because I see her name blowing up everywhere over there. I'm like, you just keep getting it and keep getting reps and then like hopefully head over to the States, continuously at some point.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, what would you say in terms of then? Again, I know you can't give any certain bookings away or like matches away, but in terms of like British opponents who you haven't faced, be it deathmatch or otherwise, any regular match, like do you have your eyes on people? Are there people over here that you look at and you're like, that's a match I want before I hang up my boots?
Um, Definitely Sapphire, just to do it in her
Mm.
area like that I think would just draw money anyways, and like it would produce. Like I would look forward to doing another one. Uh, Man, kind of put me on the spot. Jacob, what is it? I think his name's Jacob. He's Ref Pro guy. I think he's
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Luke Jacobs.
Lou Jacobs. Yeah, he seems like I've seen him throw down with Manders, and I'm like, man, I think that would be like good time slash very physical time. Like those are the only two at the top of my head. Like I'd want to throw down with like a must. But like for me, wrestling anybody for the first time is always cool. So like you don't need like this huge name value to be good. Like that's what makes me good at what I do.
Mm.
Like I can show up to a show and wrestle anybody, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then if they're learning from it, then I just pass that forward.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that brings us nicely into our first little feature of the podcast. And again, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but not too much. It's a bit of fun that we have called Dishing the Dirt. And I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to let me know out of any of the locker rooms that you've been in, which wrestler you think best encapsulates that question.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is who's always running late?
Oh, Davey Vega.
Yeah. Yeah.
Davey Vega. Yep.
Always. I love Davey, but that's his drawback, is it? He's
Yeah, it's wild.
never on time. Davey, come on, you gotta get better at that. The uh the next one is I always equate this to like maybe like travel and stuff if you like carpool with someone's shows, but it's who has the worst music taste?
I would say Noah Clover. He's a younger kid. His music taste sometimes a little bizarre, but hey, whatever.
What are we talking?
I couldn't tell you. I tune it out, or we turn it off, or I just start an argument for the sake of it.
what is your music taste? Is it very like is it opposite to that basically?
A little bit of everything. I do like a little bit of everything, but this is just like not good. Like I can't. No, we're done with this.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The next one's my favorite on the list by far. It's who would you, under no circumstances, let a family member date?
Man, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
That's a tough one. That's the thinker of the group, I feel, because people are either like, oh, there's too many people, or there's not enough.
I'm gonna say
Is it like you're struggling to think of one, or is it there's a few options?
there's a few, and I'm just trying to like. I'm really thinking about this. Like that's the thing. Like I'm really.
It's a common question. You know, you want to know if someone like member of your family walks in with that person on their arm, you're gonna be like, no, not a
Now you leave now. No, I'm gonna say just to throw a whole bunch of shit. Aaron Williams.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any particular reason why or not broadcastable?
No. Here's the thing. Aaron is amazing. He's one of my best friends in real life, and like we're unsigned, don't care together, and like so on and so forth. But just because I feel he would be a perfect match to said sibling if he was dating him, I'm not gonna let it happen. So I'm gonna be the party ruiner. So no Aaron Williams.
Brilliant, brilliant. The next one is we're talking out the ring. So like in their street clothes or whatever. Who has the worst dress sense?
Noah Clover again.
Yes.
Yeah.
No music, no dress.
Yeah.
Oh, not a good package. Not a good package.
Yep.
That's unfortunate. What are we talking like? What does he wear? What's
He wa- he looks like he's homeless half the time, even though I dress the same ish. He just looks homeless, and like once again, I always have to give him shit for it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and rightly so. Rightly so. The next one's on the nicer end of that. So, Gary J, you've forgotten your gear for a show, and you need to go to the locker room and you need to borrow someone's gear. But it's one size fits all. You can pick anyone you want. Whose gear do you look at and you're like, I could pull that off?
I think since it would be fun, like we're just having fun with it, Shaz McCallie.
Yeah, oh, I'd love to see you in Shaz's gear. My God, that would be incredible.
Yeah, I think that would just be fun.
Oh yeah, you totally put it up as well. Like she's got like little bits of sequence, little bits of sparkle. Like it's great.
Exactly. So next time we tag together, Shaz, I'm gonna wear your gear.
Shazza, if you're watching this, yeah. Oh, next time you tag, yes, gear swap. Like she wear your gear, you wear her. That would be brilliant.
There you go.
Shazza, we got a match for you right here. Get this done. Someone book it. Someone.
I'll text her immediately as soon as we're done talking.
Yes, we got to get this done. We got to get this done. When we put some clips out on social media, this is going to be one of them. We're going to get her attention with it. We're going to make sure someone books this.
I'm all right with it.
Love it. The next one is there's only a couple more. The next one's who would throw the best party? Who would throw? I say the best party. It's more like who would throw the party that Gary J would want to be at.
I'm gonna say me. Like I know that's a very like stupid answer, but me.
Oh, you said about what kind of party we're talking? Are you a partier or do you prefer more chill? Like,
A little bit of both, but if I am at a party, it's at the home location. So like I would want to host it or do it at home so I don't gotta do anything. So it'd be at my house.
nice, nice. And the next one, the family member one is my favorite question. This one though, I feel is the most important. It's because this determines your entire future. Who would you choose to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse?
I gotta say Aaron Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very versed in martial arts and taekwondo and can really fight. So I think me and Aaron will be all right.
I was going to say that's a good shout. I think you'd make a pretty ruthless team. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, brilliant. Great choices. Great choices. Well, that's the end of that feature. We're going to move straight on to our sort of like second feature here, which is, again, we dished some dirt on the locker room. Now we're going to get to know about Gary J, because this feature is called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler. And I'm going to, again, ask you some questions about yourself, and you let me know what comes to mind.
Okay, absolutely.
So the first one is, what is your favorite post-pinfall pig out?
Man, if I'm on the East Coast, Sheets. We go to Sheets. Sheets is amazing. I'm a Sheets person. Wawa is trash.
So, we've not had the Wawa hate. I've heard a lot about both. Like again, like we've had a lot of people say Sheets as well as a top tier thing. I've not had people diss Wawa before though. I've heard a lot about that. I've never had anyone say a bad thing about it.
Wawa's unorganized and sloppy. Sheets is professional.
Right. Okay, there we go. The gauntlet's been thrown down.
Exactly.
There we go. I love it.
Their flip for your promotion right there.
I was gonna say this is the main. This is what we're selling it on. This is the whole. Hey,
We're selling sheets is what we're doing.
any promotional, any like any sponsorship or anything want to come our way? That's fine as well. Like we'll take it.
Please.
Brilliant. The next one, they're not all food based, but the next one is as well as another food based one. It's the classic, like, what would your death row last meal be?
Oh man, I guess if I was on death, like if I was dying tomorrow, but I'm not because right now I'm like a cat with 9 lives. Uh, I would say a big Caesar salad,
Nice.
some chicken wings, a burger, fries, and then probably like a good milkshake.
Nice, nice. Like classic, like vanilla or flavored?
Probably vanilla because I'm pretty boring.
No, no. See, that's the thing. I don't think vanilla's boring. Vanilla's like, in my mind, the elite, right? It's the thing that everything else goes on top of. You gotta have vanilla, otherwise nothing else works.
So yeah, I definitely think that would be my final meal. Like that. Oof, that sounds good.
That sounds pretty good as well. I like how you got the Caesar salad in there as well, just for that added bit of help as well. Like just
I love Caesar salad. I'm a big salad connoisseur, but like Caesar salad is top notch.
nice. I like it. I like it. Well, we mentioned music case in the last feature. This one is about music case as well. It's what is the song that gets you the most hyped?
Um, One randomly is Katy Perry Roar.
That's very random. That is not a song that I would associate with Gary J.
I'm a big Katy Perry fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I'm like I just like good beat and like good feel good music sometimes, and like I found myself looking up Katy Perry tickets once, but I ended up being out of town. Like I was gonna go see her.
I'm not gonna lie, like based on what we said before as well, I think if you ever do a match in Shaz and Mackenzie's gear, like Katy Perry is a banger entrance for you to have, and like it would work with the look as well. I think it would be great.
No, absolutely. I think for a short time I used Katy Perry Roar to the ring, so
Oh,
like I've already been done. Yeah, I forgot what year. It's been a while now.
that song's been out a while, hasn't it? That song's been out a while. It could have been any time at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. The next one is what is the movie that you would show the locker room?
Hmm. If it was my choice, I'd probably have to go with Batman Returns.
That's a great one. Yeah, that is a great one. That like yeah, that entire like Batman. Most Batman films are pretty elite. Not all. I won't say all. Most.
I enjoy all of them. Obviously, everybody bitches about the Schumacher film, but like, it is what it is. Like, it's still fun to watch. I don't get mad about it because I'm like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's for kids.
Are you a big like DC Marvel guy generally, like superhero stuff, or is it?
I like some of it, but like, I'm a big Batman fan, like huge Batman fan. Like, I religiously like think about Batman and talk about Batman probably way too much. And like, if my son ever buys me opera tickets, I'm not going. They're like, but yeah, so
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. The next one's a bit of a throwback because it's your first job.
my first job was overnight at Kohl's, the department store.
How did you find that?
I believe it was just an online thing, like an Indeed.com thing.
Right.
So,
No, no, sorry, no, no, sorry. I mean, how did you find the like? How was the job?
oh, um, it was fun. I worked with one of my best friends, Matt Jackson, who booked St. Louis Anarchy. Like, "Ha, I said it, Matt, you're uncovered. You're in trouble now." Uh, but he used to be Perry Abernathy before he retired. Him and Evan were the submission squad. He's my best friend. He's the godfather of my child. So like we ran a couple jobs together. Uh, one of them.
That being another one, and like and now and then wrestling as well.
Yep. We started wrestling at the same time, and then he ended up getting out of the in ring portion, and then he's very good at like the booking and running the show portion now. Obviously,
I was gonna I've got to ask him, was that like discussed at Coles over that like first job? Was it discussed like we're gonna be wrestlers? Like was that a common thing you had?
we were already wrestling.
Uh,
So like, yeah, I mean, as you can think, like wrestling's been a part of like me like doing since like 2003.
Mm.
2004. So like that's when we started working, and then, like I was 17, 18. So like, so yeah, wrestling's always been part of the discussion from here on out. You know.
That's wild. That's wild that again, like you can have that connection with someone again, like be wrestling and then like that friendship carry over into so many spheres. That's pretty cool.
We met in high school without wrestling for a friend who I watched wrestling with, and then he introduced us, and then we ended up being like BFFs, and then
I love
now we
that.
talk every day, and we're old men that sit on the balcony and just grumble about shit.
I love that. That's the dream though, isn't it? That's what you want. That's what it's all leading to.
Yep, exactly.
I love it. I love it. The next one is what is your favorite animal?
I have two answers, if that's okay.
Well,
My favorite animal to have as a pet because it's a thing. I have four cats. I love my cats.
love it. Love it.
If you look at any of the Gary J logos, it's a cat skull or a cat with lightning. It's cat oriented. And then my favorite non-pet is a penguin.
Penguins are adult. Yeah, I love a penguin. Yeah, yeah, that's a great shout. Penguins, a penguin can be a pet though if you got them. If you got enough money.
True. I don't have said money, but if someone wants to go ahead and start a GoFundMe for my penguin fund, go for it.
That's the next one. It's going to be up right after this. We're going to start the GoFundMe for Gary J. Penguin.
Gary J needs a penguin right now.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. So if you say that over here though, I don't know if they do them in the States. There's like a biscuit, a chocolate biscuit bar over here called a penguin.
Huh. Well,
So
I'll just find it now.
if you say it over here, someone will get you one.
I'm down. Let's do it.
It won't be the one you want.
And not the one that's going to smell terrible and destroy my bathroom, but it'll do.
The thing that's better. Yeah, it's a better one.
Yeah, technically.
Brilliant. The next one gets a little deep because it's your greatest fear.
Biggest fear?
Mm.
Um, this is kind of real, but like the only thing that gives me big anxiety if I think about it too long is death.
Like
So yeah.
no, it's a weird one, death, isn't it? Like I totally get that. Like I don't think I'm afraid of death. I think I'm afraid of like the idea of not being able to think about anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I'm worried about like what do I do? You dead. Like what do you like? It's like we're yeah. See, right now I'm already like clamming up. I'm like,
No, you're like, oh, it sends like a shiver down your spine. You're like, no, it's like, oh, no.
yeah, exactly.
We'll get off that topic. We'll get off that topic, and then back into a couple more questions, the nicer ones, and it's the next one's your favorite place in the world.
My favorite place in the world, man.
It can be like as big or small as you want. We've had people say like their bed as an answer. So like,
Like I'm gonna get like real again. I stay at home with my son and my lady. Like when we're home and vibing and having a good time, like home, you know?
yeah, I love that. I love that. And again, like as someone who again travels as much as you do for like but essentially for work, like it's probably like I imagine you sort of cherish those moments at home even more because you're always traveling.
Oh, absolutely. It's great after a very long weekend of going home, showering, and just like vibing and doing nothing, like hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And the last one is the almost like the opposite end of that because it's your dream holiday destination.
Probably Hawaii.
Nice, nice. Bit of sun, bit of beach.
Oh, I love the beach. I like a good cocktail in the beach would be amazing.
Nice. Are you like a relaxer on holiday? Are you like an explorer?
Um, I can do both, but a lot of times you'll find me at the beach if it's accessible, or at the pool just doing nothing, drinking probably.
Again, like I think you put your body through enough, right? You don't need to be walking about places loads on it. You can just chill. Like just give your body time to rest.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. No, I love that. It's a great answer. That's a great answer. And it brings us nicely to sort of like what's closing up here on the chat. But I want to ask again in terms of again like the amount of traveling you do, and we sort of touched on it earlier in terms of getting to experience these new things in like it is all for the love of the game, right? It's all because like again, I say it so much to wrestlers, but like it's the fact that wrestling is a job where you have to love it because if you don't love it, there's no point putting your body, your like self through what wrestlers put themselves through.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Like, and not even that, like, people don't think about the other side of it of like, yes, you put your body through a lot. It's a lot, doing the wrestling, traveling, but it's a big mental game too. Like it's the mental Olympics, as I say. Like it'll throw your brain through some hoops.
Yes, it will. It will. We've had people like again come on and say that like sometimes even as tough as it is, I think the toughest thing, especially from what I've gathered from talking to wrestlers for so long, is like the toughest thing is allowing yourself to have that break almost when you need it, like realizing when you're mentally burnt out more so than physically, and be like, I can step away for like a little bit and then come back.
And like I've been doing it for a while now. I've never taken a break. I probably should have. And like I've had weekends off clearly, like I have time off, but like I've never stepped away from the ring for longer than ever. Like I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like when you eventually do, I think you're gonna have earned it. You're gonna have earned that rest. I think.
Yeah, I would like to think so. And like I think even if I step out of ring, I'm gonna still do something, if that's like an agent, help people. That's kind of what I do now in a lot of aspects as well. But like that's the other side of it that I love that I don't talk about a lot.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. So like again, if you're open to talking about that, like in terms of doing that sort of work, that must be really nice as well in terms of like helping other wrestlers get work, helping other people through in their careers, seeing them climb those ladders as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like if you know anything about me recently, Anakin Murphy is like I don't want to say protege, but like he's someone I've influenced and I've helped the most right now. And like
Mm.
he's a kid that like dabbles in the deathmatch stuff, but he's a good wrestler too. He has a great character. He connects with an audience as soon as he walks through the curtain. Like kid getting it real early in his career. So like by the time he gets to like 20 something years in, like who knows where he's gonna be. So like I love doing that. I love helping. So
Yeah, it
anyway,
must be.
shout out to Anakin Murphy. Everybody check him out.
I was gonna say that must be like really rewarding as well to be like to see someone again like what you work with so close with someone and then see them progress the way they are. Like that must be really rewarding.
Oh, it's awesome. It's like watching my little brother like do cool shit, you know? So like I love it. And like anybody that's in my close circle, like that I help like relentlessly and they're like, constantly, I'm seeing them do cool stuff and they're learning and they're getting it and they're continuing to like level up like a video game, as I say. Like I'm proud of all of them. And it makes me feel they call me Unk. Like I'm Unk. So like that's what they all call me. So like Unk's very proud. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, that's brilliant. And again, like in terms of sort of wrapping things up here, I know we spoke about 2024 as a year for Gary J. What about 2025? We're here just a couple of weeks into it. If we were having this chat this time next year, and I said to you, "How has 2025 been for Gary J?" What would that look like? What would a good year for Gary J look like in 2025?
Um I just want to continue to be able to grow as a human being, a performer, and just continue my journey. Like the unknown sometimes is scary, but I look at it as like a challenge. So like there's things I want to do and accomplish, but like the bucket list stuff for me is very small now. Like I'm very fortunate enough to do this and put food on my table. Not a lot of people can do that. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people can say that, but there's also a sacrifice with that, as we've kind of just dabbled in. So like if I were to say what's 2025 going to be, what it look like, it's going to be amazing. Like I feel really confident in like what I'm doing now and what I'm about to do. So like once again, it sounds so positive, but like that's what I am overall is like positive. Like I feel I'm going to do really cool shit. And like, I don't know what that means or what it is yet, but I feel it. I feel that vibe and like, it's just going to get better and better.
I love that. I love, and again, like on that, like it's really nice because again, like throughout this entire chat, it's you come across super positive, like super upright, super energetic about it, and like that's really nice to see as again as someone who's been in it so long that you haven't been like jaded by it or anything because it is a brutal business that you're in. Like it's great that you still have that enthusiasm for it and that desire for it.
Oh yeah, I have my good and bad days. I have had my moments where like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to do it. What am I doing here? Why am I here? For a while, I had really bad imposter syndrome about like what I'm doing, and then it just it goes away because you realize this is what I belong to do. This is what I want to do. Like clearly, I'm doing something right because if I wanted it, I wouldn't have been around 21 years.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And big up to you for that. Big up to you for that. Well, Gary J, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's been a pleasure having you here. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely. But we'll do the same interview next year, the beginning of 2026.
We will, and we'll see what you said. We'll compare it to what you just said about the.
Awesome. And then the GoFundMe should start as soon as this is done. But we'll get a penguin. We'll get them on the show too.
Someone book the match with Shazza and Gary in the gear swap, like all these things. They've got it
Yep,
up.
there's 2025 right there.
There we go. That's all you need. The penguin, the gear swap. That's the year made. That's it.
Two things, Gary.
Love it. Well, before we wrap up, I've got one final question for you, Gary, and it's not a question that I've thought of because we have a closing tradition here on the podcast where our last guest leaves a question for our next guest.
Cool.
Without any context of who they're leaving it for. This person didn't know they were leaving you a question. You're not allowed to know who left you the question. It's completely anonymous and very random. This one especially is quite random. But again, on the last meal thing, you came across as like you like your food, so I'm intrigued by your answer to this. It's what is the most disappointing meal you've ever had?
I'm gonna have to say Whataburger.
Really?
Yep.
Not good.
Nope. Not a fan. Very, very for spicy ketchup.
Do not tell that to Hyan. Like we've spoken to her and she loves Whataburger. She said Whataburger was better than In-N-Out, and that was high rating.
In-N-Out's not the greatest either, but like, yeah, I'm throwing shots. I am. But
No Whataburger, no Wawa. We're really throwing shade here.
yeah, I'm a whole different kind of animal.
Amazing. Well, that's a great answer. I'll get your question for our next guest once we finish recording. But
Okay.
no, thank you so much again for coming on. We have a closing tradition here on the podcast where our guest always has the final word. So from you, Gary, if anyone sees you out in the States, it comes to a show that you're on, or over here when you come to the UK, if someone checks out a show that you're on or sees you on a show nearby and they want to come and check you out, why is Gary J going to steal the show?
Oh, I'm going to steal a show because I am that guy. I've been that guy, and I'm always going to be that guy. So if I'm at a show, you're going to throw your hard earned money down and you're going to get a hell of a show. And then please, 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 if you see me at the merch table or before or after the show, just come say hi and take a picture because that's the best part about all this is meeting everybody that you've been, in a way influenced or everybody that you've like made something feel like made you feel something.